What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Grow with Breeze. In this video, we're going to be doing a comparison between Weebly and Squarespace. Weebly and Squarespace are two of the biggest website building platforms out there, and they have a lot of similarities, but they do have a lot of key differences as well. So we're going to go over all of that to help you decide which one is best for your needs. For your convenience, we've also included our affiliate links to both Weebly and Squarespace in the video description. So let's get started. So first, to give you an overview of what Weebly is really all about, Weebly does have a decent amount of features and it's decently customizable too, but what it's really known for is being easy to use. If you're just starting out and you don't know a whole lot about web design, if you don't really feel like taking the time to learn things, you don't need to know code or anything, although if you do know code, you can incorporate that knowledge into developing a website on Weebly, but that's a whole different story. At the end of the day, Weebly's biggest strength is how easy it is to use. That being said, Weebly is not one of those tools that has one strength way up here and then all these other little drawbacks. Weebly is actually really well-rounded. I would say better so than Wix, which we will get into in a different video. But overall, whether you're a beginner or you're a little bit more advanced but don't want to take the time to deal with anything complex, Weebly is still going to be a pretty solid option. Squarespace, on the other hand, is still pretty intuitive and pretty easy to use, but instead of being known for that, it's really known for two different things. The first one is having some of the best looking themes in the market. The second one is having some of the most powerful features in the market. So Squarespace does have a lot of really specialized specific features, and they focus on not only aesthetics, but sophistication down to these little details. There are a lot of things you can customize and control in Squarespace that a lot of people might not even think of when they're going to design a website. For example, they make it so you can easily customize the 404 error page on your website so it can look exactly how you want it to look. You can customize the little icon on the tab that somebody's gonna see when they have your website pulled up, and lots more. They really focus on the fine details and allow you to make your website look as good as it possibly can. And for the features, their features are actually a lot more sophisticated than some of the other website building platforms out there. For example, if you're running a nonprofit that takes donations and you set up the website through Squarespace, Squarespace actually has a dedicated donation system so people can make donations to your organization. And I don't think any other website building platforms actually have something that's that advanced. That's one of many features that really sets Squarespace apart from other website building platforms in the industry. So taking a look at the editors of each website builder, there are definitely some differences in how these are set up. So right now we're in the dashboard section of a Weebly website that I created for an example. The way you actually get to the website is simply to go to the side tab here, go to edit site. It's gonna take you right to the editor. It's gonna pull up the website, and then to actually start editing it, you're gonna hit edit in the top right corner. And now you're gonna go right to the editor. And now in here, of course, you can edit things. Weebly is set up on a grid system where you have these backgrounds that you can change, and then all these different elements on the website itself that you can change. So there's text right here, there's a button right here, a spacer, a picture, more buttons, text. The list goes on. This is called a divider. It's basically a fancy way to divide two sections from each other so it looks really nice. And a real benefit to the way Weebly's editor is set up is this simple drag and drop system. It really doesn't get easier than this. I can tell you for sure Squarespace is not this simple. You can just drag whatever you want onto the screen, just place it wherever. And actually, the cool thing about Weebly that makes it so nice is that you can't just place it wherever. It is on a grid system. And the reason that this is so significant is because one of the more annoying issues about setting up any website is that it looks completely different on a mobile device. And since such a large portion of people browse the web with mobile devices as opposed to desktop devices, it's really important to be sure that your website is optimized for mobile devices. And the cool thing about Weebly's system is since it's a grid system that's so straightforward, you can't just place something in a random spot. It actually is basically stuck on the grid, and the good thing about that is that whenever you go to mobile view, it's really unlikely that it's not going to look good. It's of course going to look a lot different since it is mobile view, but it's not going to look awful because of Weebly's system. It's set up to be really hard to mess up. And that of course is why Weebly is so good for beginners, because if you don't really know what you're doing, it's so easy to make mistakes. And this platform is definitely one of the more forgiving ones out there. As far as the different tools you can add to a website, you can do pretty much anything, and you can start off with a blank page and just put all the elements you want onto it, which I think is really cool. Sometimes you just want to set something up how you want to set it up, and you can really customize it to put whatever objects you want into it. So moving on to Squarespace, this is the dashboard of a Squarespace account I made for this example. So to get to the editor, you're gonna hit this right here, and it's gonna take you to this other little mini dashboard that has an overview of all the different things you can look at. To get into the editor, you're gonna hit edit right here. And now you're in the editor where you can change things on the website. Now, Squarespace is similar to Weebly in the sense that it has things in a more rigid system. So you can't just drop something into a random spot. For example, you can't move this text randomly over here to the side. You actually have to go to this plus right here and add what's called a spacer and then put it on the other side so it can go like that. That looks awful. I would never do that in real life, but you get the picture. Now, I personally think Squarespace is a little bit trickier at first than Weebly because there's no drag and drop system. You don't have a toolbar anywhere on the side where you can drag any element you want into it. Instead, you actually have to control it through these right here. So for example, a section is basically a little spot where you can place content, and it's divided into several different sections. You can control the size of the section if you go to edit. And now you have the choice between small, medium, or large, or you can hit these dots right here and change it numerically instead. Now, I think that that's really cool personally because some people might like to just be like, okay, I just want a medium section. That's pretty much it. But other people might want to get into the specifics. So Squarespace really optimizes it to the point where if you are one way, you're going to be satisfied, and if you're the other way, you're also going to be satisfied. Now, the only thing that some people might not like about this is that you can't just drag it to change the size, because personally, that's the natural thing that I would think to do. So that might be a little confusing, but once you're really used to the system, I don't think that it's bad at all. There's really no problem with it. It might not be quite as straightforward as Weebly, but it is really intuitive. Once you click around a few times and really see what's going on, it's really easy to learn. And then to change content, to add something like, for example, a button, what you're gonna do is go to an existing content block and hit the plus right here, and then you can add whatever you want. Now, one thing that's a big differentiation between Squarespace and Weebly is the themes, because as you can see with Squarespace's interface, it would be super hard to actually create something from a blank page. That's not really even an option on Squarespace. Instead, Squarespace has some of the best themes you can get to compensate for that, because the idea of Squarespace is you choose a theme you really like, and you basically don't have to do a whole lot besides changing links, changing backgrounds, changing products, all that kind of thing. So Squarespace really has it set up in a super specific way that already looks really nice. And that way you don't have to do as much work. And I personally really like it like that. But if you're into more customization and want it to look a really specific way and you want to start things from scratch and don't really like choosing themes or templates or whatever you want to call them, then Weebly might be a little bit better for you, because even though Squarespace is really customizable in the sense of really tiny details, when it comes to the overall holistic view of your website, Squarespace is known to be pretty recognizable in their themes. When you go on some random website, it might look super nice, but if you do know what Squarespace looks like, if you're really familiar with Squarespace websites, you're probably gonna recognize it as a Squarespace website. Now, I personally think it's really cool. I really like it, but a lot of people might not like that. They might wanna have something as original as possible, as different as possible. And in that case, Weebly might be a little bit better for you. But if you do want a really good looking theme where you can just jump into a website, change what you need to change, and call it a day, then Squarespace is probably going to be a better option. To get to the mobile view, in case you're wondering, you're going to hit mobile preview, go here, and then you're going to see the mobile view. It's pretty similar to Weebly in the sense that you really can't mess it up. I don't see how you could unless you put a spacer in a really weird spot, but honestly, you'd probably have to be trying to mess it up. I mean, honestly, these look really good and they really are set up to fit both desktop and mobile views. Now, one thing that I really like about Squarespace versus Weebly is you can actually edit the mobile view if you have to in the editor. With these two website platforms, it's really unlikely that you actually mess something up to the point where it just looks bad, but maybe you want something to look a really specific way. Well, you can actually change that in the mobile editor. Whereas with Weebly, you can't. You actually have to edit things in the desktop view. So in order to change something here, you go back to desktop. And then here's the part that really bothers me. You actually have to basically just guess where things are gonna show up. So if there's a certain appearance you wanted to have for mobile view, you're really gonna have to take a lot more time, spend a lot more effort doing that. Whereas with Squarespace, you can just edit it within mobile view and there's no problem with that. You can get it done a lot faster. So overall, as far as themes go, Squarespace's themes are definitely more high quality and more complete than Weebly's. But on the other hand, if you like customizing things a lot and really personalizing it to make it your own, then Weebly is gonna be a little bit better because even though their themes are not quite as detailed and nice looking as Squarespace is, I feel like that's really done with the expectation that you're probably gonna add most of your own things to it and make it more your own. Whereas with Squarespace, it's more done for a turnkey kind of thing where you can go onto it, change whatever you need to change, probably nothing super drastic, and be good to go. So in conclusion, between Weebly and Squarespace, which platform is better? I would say it really depends on your needs and your preferences. On one hand, Weebly is a little bit more customizable as far as the themes go, and it's a little bit more straightforward and easy to use, whereas Squarespace is a little bit more sophisticated. It has nicer looking themes from the start, and it has some more advanced features optimized for e-commerce and is all around better if you want to be selling things on your website. But on the other hand, it's not quite as customizable. And while it's still intuitive, it is in general a little trickier to use than Weebly. So I would say if you're making a more informational website, or if you have a physical business and you just want your website to have information people can look at before they come visit your business, or maybe you're doing a blog or a personal thing, something like that, then Weebly is probably gonna be a better choice for you. Weebly could also be a better choice for you if you want to customize things and really personalize it to make it look super unique in a specific way. Again, it's probably gonna be your best bet there. But if you wanna build an online store where your primary focus is e-commerce, or you don't really care about personalization and just want the best looking website you can get with the least amount of effort, then Squarespace is probably gonna be a better bet for you. Again, if you are ready to get started with either Weebly or Squarespace, be sure to click our affiliate links in the video description. Those will take you right to their respective websites where you'll be able to see the latest pricing, deals, and promotion. And for more information about Weebly or Squarespace, be sure to check out the reviews and tutorials of the sites on the channel. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video and hopefully you found this comparison helpful as well. If you did, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next Grow with Breeze video.